Hi there, my name is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer. This is serious social media help for the independent writer being a person who does not yet have an agent. I am a master's degree candidate at Quinnipiac University. This is my capstone project. Today I'm going to be talking about color theory with reference to the color copper. And color theory is essentially just the study of how we feel about certain colors. The color of your cover does matter. Now, what do we think of when we think of the color copper? We might think of kettles or cookware. We might think of pennies. We probably think of pennies more than anything else. We might think of roofs, but that might be not necessarily the orangey color, but the greenish patina that can come along when copper is tarnished, and copper tarnishes rather easily. We also might be thinking of electrical wiring, and certainly we think of suntans. But color theory is a lot more than just a laundry list of stuff that is that particular color. So when we talk about copper, usually that gets inextricably wrapped up with the idea of bronze. And that's because bronze is about 90% of the composition of bronze is copper. And bronze not only is associated with ancient peoples because of a Bronze Age, but it's also associated with third place medals in the Olympics. Copper pennies are common. They're considered so common and so cheap that unless they're rare for some reason, or they're very old, which would also usually be a consideration of rarity, we don't really care about them. You know, we drop them on the ground or the floor and we don't pick them up. It's considered cheap and poor taste to do so. But copper is also a good electrical conductor. Now, in culture, Native Americans in Wisconsin and Michigan experienced an old copper culture. They began working copper in about 3000 BC, and that's according to the Encyclopedia Britannica Online. Now, a little bit more about copper in culture. Arizona is the leading state in copper mining in the United States since 1910, and about 2/3 of all American copper comes from Arizona. There are hazards with copper mining. It's a really dangerous profession. Traditionally, copper mining would produce toxic waste, and that would include sulfur dioxide and sulfuric acid. When it comes to book covers, generally you're not going to be making your cover out of copper, but you might be using that color as an accent, and you might even be using it for the lettering for your title or your author name. I can see copper in particular being useful if you're writing in the steampunk genre or you were writing in historical fiction. Now, you can find places online which will teach you how to craft a real live copper book cover. I wouldn't recommend doing this on a regular basis. It's the sort of thing that's artisanal. But if you were going to a book signing, for example, and you were conducting a book signing and you were in, like I said, the historical fiction or steampunk genres, if you had a copper cover with you, that might draw attention. It might be one of these things that you could display and get people more interested in what you've got. But otherwise, I wouldn't recommend using copper for book covers unless it's as a small accent. Once again, this is Janet Gershon-Siegel, and I'm the Lonely Writer because an independent writer never has to be alone. Thanks so much for listening.